Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Next Level Call. It's an honor and pleasure to be here talking to the entire country. I'm glad it's by recording. But I wanted to talk to you guys about something that was kind of brought to light to me over the past couple of weeks as I went through different trainings, and it's really how to actually show numbers in the house. I talk a lot very quickly and gloss over the fact that it's perceived value. Everybody says when value exceeds price, people buy. And run through how I show the numbers verbally. But until recently, one of my newer agents asked me to actually run through it and then thanked me pretty extensively for running through it and how it kind of changed things for him. So hopefully it helps some of you. But here goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is top-down selling. So I'm going to start with, okay, folks, so the maximum amount that you qualify for is $250,000. So that's $250,000 worth of natural death benefits. Okay? And this is with Americo, our platinum carrier based in Kansas City, Missouri. Not publicly traded, so they're not chasing a stock price or anything like that. So definitely a secure company, somebody you definitely want to do business with. $250,000 natural. So any cause of death, it's covered there. Plus $62,500 accidental. Which basically means if it's an accident, slip and fall, car accident, anything of the nature that it will pay out both for $312,000 worth of coverage. It also comes with a $62,000 500 common carrier death benefit for $375 total. Now, what that common carrier covers is anything that you pay a fare for: plane, train, bus, boat, anything at all. All three of them come into play, and it pays out $375, but $250,000 worth of natural death. Now, because it is life insurance, it comes with, and not death insurance, comes with some living benefits. Your critical illness rider, which basically means if you have a heart attack, stroke, major organ failure, end-stage kidney failure, ALS, anything like that, that you can access this $250,000 to offset any medical expenses, accommodate any new modes of living. If you're just not able to work in the same capacity, have to find a new job, maybe take a pay cut and can no longer afford the mortgage, as is, you can take out a portion of that to take a chunk out of the mortgage to make it more affordable based on what your new income is. Whatever you need to do, those funds are there for you while you're still here. The chronic illness rider means you have heart attack, stroke, TIA, that car accident that you don't pass away from, anything that leaves you unable to do 2 of 6 daily living functions without a significant amount of help. What those are: feeding, bathing, clothing, medicating, walking, or continence. Any 2 of those 6, you can, again, use that $250,000 to do things like make modifications to the house, wheelchair ramps, make it more handicap accessible, purchase orthopedic equipment to accommodate your new mode of living or whatever your needs are as a result. Anything at all. They're not going to question you. All you need is a note from the doctor citing that qualifying event, and Americo basically opens their checkbook for you. The third rider that's included is the terminal illness rider. Now that means if you're diagnosed with anything that gives you less than 12 months to live, then you can, again, access that $250,000 to take care of whatever you need to in the last 12 months. You want to pay off the house. You want to just take a healthy chunk out. You want to go visit family, family to you. Just create some memories while you're still here. Those funds are available to you. And then the other thing that people really like about this is the 100% guaranteed return of premium, which basically means that every dime that you pay into the policy is there for you on the other side in the event that you outlive it, to basically put back in your pocket to supplement anything else that you set aside for retirement, for that retirement vehicle, retirement home, whatever it is, it's there for you. For all those benefits, you're looking at $312.86. for all those benefits, which basically means that in 30 years, you're 40 now, you are looking at a guaranteed return of $112,629.60. Again, to supplement whatever else you set aside for retirement. That's a $112,000 check that they're going to hand over to you for allowing them to protect your family and for outliving the policy. Now, what a lot of people do, because the average person does refinance their house twice, this ends up being something that they can use to pay off the house early. If not, then again, it supplements your retirement. Do you understand how that all makes financial sense? And then I just shut up and listen. And most of the times the pushback is on price. Again, this is top down. So from there, they have a $200,000 mortgage. The next one I'm going to go to, I'm going to ask them, first of all, okay, so what is it that you don't like about this? And typically it's the price. I'm going to ask if they like the return of premium, the idea of getting their money back, because I want to solidify the value there. And almost always it's the price. So the next thing I'm going to do is drop down to 100% of the mortgage. So $200,000 natural, plus $50,000 accidental, plus $50,000 common carrier. So just like the other policy, the first choice, the first option, $300,000 total, but $200,000 worth of natural death coverage, 50 accidental, 50 common carrier, all the same living benefits. The only difference is instead of accessing 250, you're accessing 200,000. For all those benefits, you're looking at $276.66, which in 30 years gives you a return of premium of $99,597.60. Now, is that a number that makes a little more sense to you, that won't have you coughing up blood every month when you see it show up on your transaction history? And they're going to say one or two things. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. And the reason I show one number, they'll often ask, is that just for me or is that for both? I show one number, a la Zach Luffles, because the last thing I want them to do is try to figure out how to fit two numbers into their budget. Then that's all kinds of math that's unnecessary. So what I do is on the front of my inventory sheet, they don't know what those numbers are, so I typically total them his and hers, and I just show them one number. So I'm, again, just being quiet and letting them do whatever conversing that they want to about the price or what have you, until they say yay or nay. If that doesn't work, then I continue to go down. The third option, their mortgage is $200,000. I'll show them $150 and cover essentially 75% of the mortgage instead of 100% of the mortgage, because it still puts the survivor in a great position to maintain things. So that's essentially the approach top down. Now, so the other thing that I might do is write it all out. I wrote it all out for time's sake, but is show them three options. I'm just telling them, okay, folks, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together the three options that make the most sense for you. And I'm going to show you 100%, 75%, 50% of your mortgage. And then I'm going to write it out. And as I write this out, I'm going to talk them through it just the same. And then I'm going to move to 75% and just write it out and say, all the same things hold true here. It's just we're going to be accessing $150,000 of the natural death coverage in the event that one of these three takes place instead of the $200,000, and the same here. And then after I write all those out, I go back and write in the numbers, and then I just turn it around to them and say, okay, folks, which one of those provides you with the peace of mind that you were looking for when you filled out the form? And then I just shut up and listen, and they're going to pick one. And depending on the commentary, sometimes what I might do, and depending on the income, is tell them that, okay, what we can do is we can mix and match these too. So, Jim, since you're the breadwinner, and your income is almost double hers, we can cover you for 100% and then cover the missus for 100,000, just because if something happens, even though you're not quote unquote dependent on her income, I know it's not shoe money, and I know that her contributions to the household are immeasurable. And if something happens to her, you have to find somebody now to cook the meals, to do the laundry, to do things like that. And those things and that adjustment costs money. So we can mix and match those too. So the other thing that I want to show you is the mortgage payment protection, or as it's so affectionately called, the old people close. So one of the first things I do is I write the annual cost of the mortgage on the top of the sheet. And then as I go through the options, I'm focusing on what it actually covers. The 1 year's worth of mortgage payments plus burial costs and final expenses, which basically what that translates to for you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is $30,000 worth of natural death coverage, $30,000 worth of accidental, plus the terminal and accelerated death benefit, which essentially, in the event that something happens to you and you're diagnosed with less than 12 months to live, it gives you access to this $30,000 while you're still alive to take care of whatever you need to in the last 12 months. You want to take a trip around the world, cruise, create some lasting memories, whatever that is for you. And for all those benefits, you're just looking at $262.38, which again essentially buys you $30,000, a $30,000 payout, plus preserves the $86,000 in equity for a total death benefit of $116,000. Do you understand how that makes financial sense and essentially prevents you from running from the funeral home to the real estate office? Because the last thing we want you to do is sit down at this coffee table or at this table tomorrow to have your coffee and Jim's not here. And in addition to all those memories flooding into your mind and you trying to process all those memories, you're also trying to figure out how you're going to make the mortgage payments for the foreseeable future. So this is going to help you bridge that gap. And then I'm just going to be quiet and listen and see what they say. And if that's not feasible for them, I'm going to move over and just chop it down to 6 to 8 months. The average funeral is $8,000 to $13,000. So that $8,000 to $13,000 goes to pay for burial costs and final expenses. And that leaves another $8,000 here to maintain the mortgage for about 6 months to allow you the opportunity to make a decision as opposed to being forced into one. Now, is that number a little more comfortable for the $106,000 death benefit? Because the last thing I want you to do is be worried about getting the AC fixed, especially here in Florida, or paying for the mortgage payment protection that's going to keep you in the house, God forbid something happened unexpectedly. And I'm just going to be quiet and listen. So that's essentially the mortgage protection, the mortgage payment protection, and the top-down selling, how I write all of those out and present them to the clients. The final expense is pretty straightforward. It's a lot like the mortgage protection. It's just the death benefit and the living benefits and the total at the bottom. Typically, there's no equity involved. I typically try to incorporate the beneficiaries when I'm presenting it, as far as the payout is concerned, allowing the beneficiary, allowing your granddaughter or allowing your daughter to make the arrangements necessary for your final expenses and your final plans, things like that. But it's pretty straightforward. Again, I'm just trying to fill the box as much as possible and give them as much eye candy as I possibly can so that they can make an informed decision and see that they really are getting a lot based on what they're putting out. Hey guys, I hope that helps and helps some of you navigate the in-home process and presenting numbers a little more effectively and efficiently. What I found and some things that I've heard in doing that is that they use those bullet points or those living benefits, the way it's written out, as talking points to kind of close each other and help each other better understand, because obviously they receive things differently, which is why we don't do one-leggers, so that they can both ask their own questions. And they end up closing one another. And I find myself saying things like, hey, that's my line, or that's what I'm supposed to say, because they efficiently or effectively close each other or close themselves. One of the other things that it does is it kind of sets you apart, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard them refer to the last agent that was in the house and how they understand it a lot better now, and how that person didn't explain those things to them or go through it in that detail, and allow them to develop the level of understanding that they have now. And just kind of as a I guess a talking point, when you're submitting the application or during this process, it's a great time to position ReliaShield as an added benefit to overcome some objections or to solidify the benefit of protecting their family, because it's a perfect time then, and if not then when you're navigating or submitting the e-app, when you're submitting for underwriting decision, it's a great time to talk through that process, because it's an easy add-on. And for those of you in states like myself, like Florida or Pennsylvania, where you don't have access to the full product, I'm pretty sure as of June 27th, and I'm sure Sean or somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, that June 27th, the 25, 20, and 15-year return of premium will also be available across the country. So happy selling. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via Facebook or Instagram or via email. I'm here to help, just like anybody else. Anything I can do, I will. And if I can, I'll direct you to the well that I found to gather the information that I have thus far on my journey. Happy selling, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.